Spoiler warning, skip this section if you don't want to see spoilers. So recently, there was a leak about an upcoming character named Momoka, a Geo 5-star bow character from Inazuma. Well, it turns out that her name is actually Kirara according to a new leak, which seems to be agreed upon by reliable leakers. Now to make sure Hoyoverse doesn't nuke my YouTube channel, I won't be showing you the image of her, but if you're interested, you can look it up on Genshin Impact Leaks subreddit. Anyway, there's a twist here. More leakers have confirmed that she is actually Dendro and is a 4-star character, not a 5-star. Now this got me thinking, did Hoyoverse change her element because they just don't have ideas for Geo? Honestly, they probably did. So this got me thinking more about Geo as an element fundamentally. I'm going to dive a little bit more into the current state of Geo and why I think it has problems as an element. 1. Geo reactions are underwhelming. Okay, let's be honest. From a strictly meta standpoint, Crystallize is not a very good elemental reaction. It deals no damage and only provides a shield for your active character when you pick up a crystal. The shield's HP is based on the character's level and elemental mastery. The elemental mastery scaling is pretty garbage and is the reason why no one really builds EM on Geo characters. Sure, this reaction has its uses, such as being useful for activating double Geo resonance, because it counts as being protected by a shield. But nowadays, almost every party has a shielder in the party anyway. Also, when you compare this reaction to something like Hyperbloom, you can already see the disparity. Hyperbloom performs amazing with very little investment. Crystallize, on the other hand, doesn't do much regardless of if your artifacts are good or bad. This is also why characters like Ito and Ningguang have fallen out of favor when compared to Dendro. They can perform very well, but require very specific setups and good artifacts. With Dendro reactions, you don't even need good artifacts and your damage goes nuts. On the other hand, Crystallize doesn't really do much even if you have the most insane artifacts. And the last thing to note about Crystallize is that Geo doesn't react with Anemo or Dendro at all. And for the 4 other elements it does react with, it does the exact same thing, provides a shield. It's a very boring elemental reaction. 2. Archaic Petra set is limited. For anyone who even remembers that this artifact set exists, here's what the 4-piece set does. If you hate reading, the TLDR is you get a 35% elemental damage bonus based on which element shard you picked up from a crystallized reaction. For example, if you pick up a Hydro shard, your active character now has 35% Hydro damage bonus. Now this sounds very good because 35% is very close to a 1000 elemental mastery Kazuha who provides 40% elemental damage bonus. But here's the catch. Kazuha's passive states that multiple of these buffs can coexist. For example, you can have Pyro and Hydro damage bonus at the same time. As for Archaic Petra, you can only have one active at a time. I'm sure you can see the issue here now. Archaic Petra set was made for characters like Zhongli and was available in the beginning of the game, but with the introduction of Tenacity of the Millilith, people started to use that instead because HP scales very well with characters like him. Other Geo characters don't really want to use 4-piece Archaic Petra, they'd rather just use another 2-piece, and they would really only run Archaic Petra if they want the 2-piece Geo damage bonus. Why would you run Geo in your party with Archaic Petra when you can just use Kazuha instead? 3. Geo is colored physical damage. I jokingly refer to Geo as colored physical damage often, but at the same time, it's actually true. Geo damage is basically colored physical damage. Just like physical damage that can be amplified with elemental reactions, you can't amplify Geo's damage with elemental reactions as well. Now I get that Geo is supposed to be a defensive element, as almost all characters that are Geo scale off of defense, and Zhongli with HP because he's built different. But honestly, defensive stats are kind of unnecessary when you're already running a healer and or shielder in the party. At one point they had to adjust Geo Resonance all the way back in 1.3 because it was just a worse version of Pyro Resonance. The change definitely helped Geo, but with Dendro emerging into the game, Geo has just become an element that no one is really excited to use anymore. I'm exaggerating obviously, but hopefully you understand what I mean. 4. Hoyoverse has probably run out of ideas for Geo character gameplay designs. So with Crystallize being a very boring and underwhelming reaction, what can Hoyoverse even make? The last Geo character released was Yunjin all the way back in 2.4 in January of 2022. Now imagine for a moment that Hoyoverse approaches you and says, alright, you get to design the next Geo character's kit. And that's what I did. I used my extremely large brain and ended up thinking of nothing creative. But after thinking for a while, I thought of something. I thought of a character who buffs the team's damage based on how many Crystallize shards the active character has picked up. Not the most creative thing, but hey, it's something. If you have any ideas, feel free to comment down below and share them. But yeah, and that's probably why Hoyoverse just hasn't released a Geo character in a long time. It's probably quite difficult to implement something that doesn't already exist in the game. 5. Some Geo characters don't actually care if they're Geo or not. Take Zhongli for example. Even though he's Geo, he's good in almost any team in the game, even though Crystallize sucks. His shield is basically unbreakable and he provides resistance shred. It just so happens that the Geo Archon happens to be, well, Geo. Haha, very funny. Sino joke there. But anyway, since he's Geo, he's obviously going to be good in Geo teams as well. Another example is Yunjin. I don't even notice that she's Geo sometimes. She's Yoimiya's best friend who doesn't even really care if she's Geo. And funny enough, her passive makes her worse if you run her with Geo because she doesn't really want the same element types in the party anyway. Not all Geo characters are like this, but there are some that stand out. So those are my reasons why there are issues with Geo as an element at the moment. If you agree, you probably abuse Dendro left and right like I do. If you disagree, you probably main Ningguang and are still waiting for her to get a tailored artifact set. Don't worry, I understand your pain. I main Geo Traveler because I enjoy making things difficult for myself. Maybe we'll get a tailored artifact set one day. Copium. On a final note, feel free to share your thoughts. Thank you for watching.